On behalf of the University of Houston and our athletic department football program, want to express, how extremely happy we are to be here in Shreveport. I think the Independence Bowl is this, I think it's either 46th or 47th game. But anyway, that's a long time, and so they've been doing a great job with this bowl game for a long time. And we're excited about being here. Excited about the matchup against the University of Louisiana. They're a good neighbor to us. Louisiana is a good neighbor to us, and we're excited about being here. The hospitality has been great. These guys know what they're doing when it comes to hosting a bowl game. So looking forward to the matchup here tomorrow afternoon.
Coaching for both of the guys. What's the coldest football game you were ever a part of?
This ain't close. I grew up in Iowa. And I played, one of my college games was in Moorhead, Minnesota, which is really cold. And I think the temperature was like -5 with wind chill of like -50. Here's the deal. There's a freeze coming tonight. Nothing we can do about that. It's beautiful out there right now. I wish we could play in weather that was out there right now. So it's going to drop and get a little colder, but hopefully the sun's out. The last time I checked, both teams will be playing in the same conditions. So it's not an advantage to anybody. The NFL does it all the time for about 2 months out of the year. Watched a game the other night in Green Bay that was colder than what we're going to play in. So weather's weather, deal with it. There's heaters and benches and all that stuff, gloves. I think we'll deal with it just fine.
For the guys, what's the coldest games y'all played in?
I think it was the UConn game last year. We played in Connecticut late in the season. I think we kicked off at noon, so it wasn't bad at kickoff. But once the sun dropped below the stadium and we were all in the shade, it was pretty cold. I don't remember how cold it was, but it got pretty cold.
For me, I think I'd say Temple game last year. It was like raining type and it was cold, so
Windy.
yeah.
Is it supposed to rain tomorrow?
No.
Is it supposed to be like windy? It is supposed to be windy.
How windy.
So that's the two things. Look, I mean, I grew up in Iowa and I was in West Virginia for 8 years. We've played in some cold games. You mentioned, 2 of those games last year were chilly. Kind of sleeting rain is where it really gets you, right? So, if it's not going to do that, it's going to be tolerable.
Dana, this time of year, schools around the country are dealing with guys that opt out or don't play, prepare for the draft. You didn't have any of that, including these 2 guys that could have opted out. What does that say about your team that you have your full confidence?
It's these are my guys up here, but they love playing the game, and it's exhausting to read about that. It's exhausting to talk about that. It's a football game, man, and we're a football team. So, what you do is you play football with your brothers and your teammates, regardless of what it is and where it is. I can understand when there's like an injury situation, or like last year, both Marcus and Logan were injured, and so they both had surgery in preparation for their NFL career. I get that. I mean, that's a part of the game. Injuries are a part of the game, and you got to deal with them when you got to do that. But these guys are loyal, they're healthy, and they're ready to play football.
Hello, Coach Holgorsen. I'm James Haddon at KSLA News 12. I know you mentioned that you've coached, of course, in cold games before, and so, of course, the prolific offense shouldn't change. But I wanted to ask just about the weather. How does that affect whether maybe the game plan or kind of how you guys go about trying to attack UL tomorrow?
We have implemented the triple option over the last 2 weeks. So we're going to run the ball a lot. It doesn't really affect it. I mean, we were, game 3 against Kansas, it poured for a whole quarter and we're still throwing the ball around a little bit. So, Unless it's like severe, like rainy conditions, it ain't gonna change much.
Coach, at the beginning of the bowl selection, you talked about the schedule and where this bowl game fell and how that resulted in your recruiting and finishing out signing day. Did the whole schedule go as according to plan as far as juggling both National Signing Day and bowl prep?
It did. Things are just so different now than they used to be. Everybody used to be, can't wait to get to a bowl game. That's the goal. So you can get 15 extra practices and develop young kids. That's a bunch of garbage. It don't happen. There's transfer portal people that are not here. There's, the signing class that we signed yesterday, we're pretty fired up about. We had 5 or 6 officials. These guys have been great when it comes to helping us recruit. They're not going to be on our team next year, but they care about this program. And so they helped us recruit. And we got some guys that we're pretty excited about, for the future. So, but we did target this bowl. One, I've never been to the Independence Bowl, and the hospitality here is second to none in the 22 bowl games that I've been a part of in the last 23 years. But the date was important. Okay. So a lot of the games that were on Friday night and Saturday night last week, I had zero interest in that because recruiting is pretty important, especially in our situation where we're trying to transition from American to Big 12, which is group of 5 to Power 5. And we got to kind of change the roster a little bit to be able to compete. So we practiced on Saturday morning. We had official visitors in Friday and Saturday. We practiced on Sunday. We practiced on Monday morning. And then we drove 5 hours in pouring rain to come to Shreveport. We're ready to roll. So I don't know how teams finished out their recruiting classes when they couldn't recruit for 5 days. Makes no sense to me. We got to fix the calendar. It's absurd that we're trying to do all this, and it's got to change.
Clayton, back on the, you never made an announcement. You didn't have to make an announcement whether you were going to play or not, but what went into your thinking about wanting to play in this game? And Tank told us last week that, he wanted to do it for you. Was it sort of the same feeling knowing what you've gone through with him?
Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot of thought put into it. It's just, it's another game. It's another opportunity to go out and play. This is my last season, and, I want to go out with the win and, enjoy every moment I can with my brothers. Like Coach Holgorsen was saying, it's you don't get a whole lot of opportunities to play with these guys, and it goes fast. So that was the main thing, is just another opportunity to play and, play with Tank and other guys, other seniors, and, love playing the game. And that's really all that went into it.
Tank, if I could toss this one real quick to you, just do you remember the first time you met Clayton? We talk about the chemistry you guys have, but where did it begin?
I would say the summer of 2020, when COVID hit, we started getting together every chance we could, and we was just going off campus to run routes at a park or something. I forgot what it was, but we was just running routes at a park and things like that.
This question is for both players. I wanted to ask, of course, with things starting to wind down, what has been your favorite part about this experience, just kind of coming to this bowl game and kind of being here in Shreveport?
Just being around my brothers. This our last couple of days with each other till we all go off on our own and do our own thing. So just being around my brothers and my teammates, coaches.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Just, all being together in one place and, hanging out and, really enjoying each other's company. The hospitality has been great. I've actually really never been to Shreveport. I've driven through, but I've never stayed here. And so I've grown to like it. It's a cool city. It's got a lot to offer. So just seeing the city and hanging out with the guys has been the most fun for me.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Coach, it is a neutral site game, but do you treat this as a road game in a way for playing a Louisiana school in Louisiana?
hadn't really thought about it. You know, I wish there was gonna be a sold out crowd. It's what bowl games are about. I've kicked this around a little bit. We talked about it the other night, but I wish this was week 0. It'd be packed and it'd probably be 50-50. You know, I think, you know, I mentioned this last night that bowl games are important. They're going to create memories. They're going to create friendships. They don't need to go away. I'm worried about them. I'm worried about the future of bowl games because of CFP, conference realignment, divisions, parity, all that. I think they need to continue because it brings people together. If you did it week 0, there'd be probably, what's the stadium hold? 50? So there'd be 50,000 people, and it'd probably be 20,000 from UL and 20,000 from UH and 10,000 from Shreveport. And there'd be a bunch of money raised, and they'd showcase the city, and it'd be very charitable, extremely charitable. And it'd be a heck of a game because everybody's undefeated and excited. Those games need to continue. So I don't even remember what your question was, but but I don't care if there's 50,000 or 5,000, and I don't care who they are. It doesn't matter. We're going to be ready to play.
Coach, tomorrow you go against a coach at the end of his first year of being a head college football coach. What advice would you give him or any other first-year head college football coach?
Well, I'm not going to give him any advice. I don't want him to have any advantage. My first bowl game, we won 70-30 against Clemson. So that was my first one that I coached in. So I'm not going to give him any beginner's luck whatsoever. I mean, we're going to try to win this game. It's all about the Cougars here, man.
Any other questions?
All right. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, guys.